Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is Lesson 7-2 for Algebra, Solving Systems Using Substitution. So basically that's our objective as well. All right, so this is a different method than graphing. All right, so the substitution method is a method of solving a system of equations by replacing one variable with an equivalent expression containing the other variable. Okay, now this may sound a little complicated, but it's really not that complicated. Okay, so let's get started here. Using substitution and the distributive property. So we have the two equations. Our system contains negative 2x plus y equals negative 1, and 4x plus 2y equals 12. Okay, what you want to look for, are there any of these variables that have a coefficient of 1? If there are, then usually that's where you want to start with this method. So solve the first equation for y because it has the coefficient of 1. So what we're going to do, we're going to add 2x to each side, and we're going to end up with y equals 2x minus 1. Okay? Now, we then start with the other equation, 4x plus 2y equals 12, and we're going to substitute in 2x minus 1 for y. All right, so 4x plus 2x minus 1, the quantity 2x minus 1, equals 12. So when I distribute 4x plus 4x minus 2 is equal to 12. So we're going to combine like terms. So that's going to give me 8x minus 2 equals 12. All right. And then add 2 to each side of the equation. So when I do that, I get 8x equals 14. And then I'm going to divide each side by 8, and I get 14/8. Or, if you want to, you could simplify that to 1 3/4, if you want to. All right. It might be easier to leave it as the improper fraction when you're going to substitute it in, because then, it's just kind of a choice. It's a little bit of a choice of how you want to work with the problem or with the numbers. I'm going to leave it as the improper fraction, 14/8. So negative 2 times 14/8 plus y equals negative 1. So I'm going to substitute in 14/8 for x. So negative 2 times 14 is negative 28. So this gives me negative 28 over 8, which simplifies to negative 3.5 if you want to. Okay. At this point, you might like having it now as negative 3.5. Because now what you'll do is you'll add 3.5, to each side of the equation. All right, so negative 1 plus 3.5 is 2 1/2. Okay, so since x is 1 3/4 and y is 2.5 or 2.5. The solution is 1 3/4, 2 1/2. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you've just heard my phone ringing, which is not a big deal, but anyway. I will pick that up, check on that later. So, all right. You have a couple here to do by substitution. When you want to check your solution, basically you substitute in your solution into each of the two or however many equations you have to be sure that it is in fact a solution of each and every equation. Okay? All right. Number 2, using substitution. A class with 26 students is going to the zoo. 5 chaperones will each drive a van or a car. Each van seats 7 persons, including the driver, and each car seats 5 persons, including the driver. How many vans and cars will be needed? Okay, so if V is the number of vans and C equals the number of cars, we need 2 equations. One for the number of drivers needed, so the number of vans plus the number of cars will equal 5, because we know that there are 5 chaperones going as well, and they're the ones driving. All right. The number of people that can be carried, 7 times V, because 7 people can ride in each van, plus 5 times C equals 31. And you get the 31 from the 26 students plus the 5 chaperones. Okay, so that's where the 31 comes from, in case you're wondering. All right, so using substitution. Write an equation containing only one variable. So I look at these two. Here I have V and C both with a coefficient of 1. So I'm going to solve for C. So C is equal to, I'm going to subtract V from each side, negative V, or the opposite of V, plus 5. So I'm going to now substitute in this into the second equation, 7V plus 5C equals 31. So 7V times 5 times the quantity, negative V plus 5 equals 31. So again, I just substituted in negative V plus 5 for C in the second equation. When I distribute, that gives me 7V minus 5V plus 25 equals 31, or 2V plus 25 equals 31. So I'm going to subtract 25 from each side, and 2V is equal to 6. So V is equal to, then divide by 2, so V is equal to 3. All right, so solve, and then you solve for C in either equation. I go back to the one that you think is easiest in. Okay, so I substitute in 3. So V is 3. So 3 plus C equals 5. Subtract 3. C is 2. So you are going to need 3 vans and 2 cars to transport the students. Also, if you look, 2 plus 3 is 5, which checks in that one. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 5 times 2 is 10. 21 plus 10 is 31. So it fits into the solution. 3, 2 fits into both equations. All right. Go ahead and finish the quick checks you have for this section, and